So now on to the main event. I'm going to talk a little bit about Cody Connections between these two fabulous sculptors, Gertrude Vanderbilt Whitney and Alexander FEM Proctor. From absolutely the beginning, sculpture has been central to the Whitney story. Our art museum was founded around the monumental bronze that many of you all know, situated on the north end of our campus. It's Buffalo Bill the Scout. And today, our collection of sculpture is broad and deep. It represents a defining strength of the museum's holdings. Many of you may be surprised, though, I think, to learn about Cody's connections to major players of the American art world and sculptors of the past and present. Sculptors have long been drawn to our region. The Yellowstone area's scenic beauty, its cultural heritage, and relative remoteness have attracted artists of international renown and continue to do so today. Contemporary sculptors are creating compelling works that expand and explode familiar definitions of Western American art in this region. As a preface to Drs. Ellen Roberts and Peter Hasrick's discussion, I'd like to speak briefly about the Cody connections among Gertrude Vanderbilt Whitney and Alexander FEM Proctor. The story of their crossing and quite yet disparate paths and their impact on Cody has been elsewhere explored. And I must especially thank my predecessor, Sarah Boehm, for celebrating their stories in 2004, and also to Peter Hasrick, who has helped celebrate their stories anew this centennial year. So Whitney and Proctor, they were two important historical sculptors, yes, who have ties to Cody, but also share a New York connection. Both Whitney and Proctor were enrolled at the Art Students League in the city for a time, taking classes there as part of their formal training. Both established studios in the Nation Art Colony of McDougal Alley in Greenwich Village. Proctor moved his studio there in 1904, and Whitney converted a stable on the street to a studio in 1907. Both sculptors admired William F. Buffalo Bill Cody. Proctor made his acquaintance at the Columbian Exposition in Chicago in 1893, and Whitney had experienced Buffalo Bill's Wild West in 1909 in Madison Square Garden, where her young son, Cornelius, was actually invited to ride in the Deadwood stage as it circled the arena in the show's second act. Both sculptors were also considered for the commission of monuments honoring Cody after his death in 1917. Proctor's potential project was for Colorado. Theodore Roosevelt had recommended him for the job. He envisioned a monument which was never realized, unfortunately, as World War I stalled fundraising and derailed the project. Whitney's monument would be made for Wyoming, for the town of Cody, to be exact, where she would craft her own heroic vision of Buffalo Bill as an Army Scout in bronze. The idea for a monumental commemorative statue of Cody was sparked in 1917 by the recently established Buffalo Bill Memorial Association. Mary Jester Allen, niece of Buffalo Bill, and others, including W.R. Coe, approached the New York artist, Gertrude Vanderbilt Whitney, for the commission. Whitney accepted, and having the means to do so, ultimately subsidized the project, an expensive endeavor. Like Buffalo Bill, Whitney was a pioneering spirit and saw this community in this commission as an opportunity to showcase her skills as a sculptress on a national stage during an era in which men truly dominated her field. After visiting Mary Jester Allen in Cody in 1922 and surveying the town's environs for an appropriate location for the monument, Whitney purchased 40 acres of land, the future site of the Whitney Gallery of Western American Art, which would later be erected in her honor and continues to bear her family's name. The commission was not without its controversies. Critics found fault with various aspects of the proposed sculpture, especially Cody's horse. Gertrude responded to this criticism with positivity and made some changes. The townspeople of Cody actually shipped some Western material east from which she could work on directly to get it right. Whitney finished the Scout, and it was dedicated in 1924, and its unveiling, as you see in the image on the right, was attended by a wonderful crowd of onlookers. The photograph also shows the prominent base that Whitney had constructed. This plinth was modeled after Cedar Mountain, just west of here, and was made of locally quarried stone. For years, the Scout stood sentinel, a singular and dominating feature on the outskirts, what was once the outskirts of town. In the 1950s, the Buffalo Bill Memorial Association was ready to use that land that Whitney had donated, and spurred by a generous donation from Whitney's son, Cornelius, remember that young man who had the chance to ride with Buffalo Bill, they built the Whitney Gallery of Western Art. Cornelius would ultimately match his initial donation after the gallery's opening celebration in 1959 to purchase art for the permanent collection. And so it was that a renowned patroness of the arts, an avid collector and skilled sculptress, forged a connection with Cody, Wyoming, through her creation of the Scout, a now iconic symbol of our town. This connection was strengthened when her son helped build the Whitney Gallery, the original modern structure on this institution's campus. Upon its opening, the gallery became the first and is still one of the finest Western art museums in the nation, if I do say so myself. Members of the Whitney family would continue their involvement with our museum over the years, with descendants Mary Lou Whitney and Leverett Miller serving here as board members. Though she may be best known as the founder of the Whitney Museum of American Art in New York City, today we celebrate Whitney as a great American artist, a visionary behind Buffalo Bill, the Scout, and a great contributor to Cody's artistic legacy. What an amazing feat it was, I keep coming back to, for an East Coast woman to bravely tackle the memorialization in bronze of one of the most storied of Western men. Another storied Westerner was Alexander FEM Proctor, a man whose biography reads at times like an adventure novel. Proctor was a prolific artist who during and after his lifetime would become best known for his bronze depictions of wildlife and Western subjects and his many public monuments. Few artists embodied the spirit of the West to a greater extent than did Proctor. A self-proclaimed, quote, sculptor in buckskin, Proctor dedicated his life to exploring the West with his hunting rifle and with pad and pencil. In towns and cities across the nation, Proctor's monuments, 27 of them, if you think it's a Remington, it's probably a Proctor, and his many sculptures pay homage to Western heritage. From Washington, D.C., where his buffalo handsomely decorate the Q Street Bridge, to Denver's Civic Center Park, where his twinned Titans, the Bronco Buster, and on the War Trail stand sentry. But it is here in Cody, Wyoming, where the most comprehensive collection of Proctor's work is held and where scholarly inquiry into the artist's life and legacy will continue to flourish. In the years following Proctor's death, the Sculptors family strove to preserve his memory. Much credit for Proctor's increasing renown should go to his daughter Hester, who published her father's autobiography in 1971. Proctor's grandson, Phemister Proctor, Sandy Church, early on committed himself to bringing broader recognition to this talented man, his grandfather, and his contributions to American art. As a young man, Sandy struck out on what became an epic journey to amass and study Proctor's artwork and share his legacy with the world. And he's been, as he says, following in Granddad's footsteps ever since. Together with his wife Sally and his daughter Laura Proctor Ames and other members of the Proctor family, Sandy Church has indescribably enriched our understanding of the sculptor's life and art through the years of devoted research and commitment. The churches have also shared their treasures, choosing the center here in Cody as the ultimate locus for the collection they so thoughtfully assembled. For more than a decade now, the center has been the beneficiary of donations on behalf of the Proctor family, the A. Phemister Proctor Museum, and the Proctor Foundation. The center has accessioned the artist's personal papers, artifacts from his life and work, and an extraordinary collection of art objects, paintings, plasters, and bronzes. Today, the Center of the West is the steward of the largest collection of Proctor material in the country. Our Proctor studio upstairs commemorates the artist's long and impressive career, and in particular, his love of outdoor adventure and dedication to his craft. The Proctor studio is filled with models and sculptures, with drawings and paintings, and a display that we hope helps to illustrate the artist's expertise in multiple media, and his facility in depicting a wide range of subjects from bronc riders to Indian leaders and all manner of Western wildlife. The exhibition helps pull back the curtain on the complicated process of casting a bronze statue, and our active schedule of rotations regularly brings new works and fresh perspectives to the display. The supporting material related to Proctor allows for a more complete understanding of his finished artwork, its meaning and import, its context in which it was made, the work's reception, the artist's intent, and his interactions with fellow artists and patrons. The study of these deep and broad collections can result in new perspectives on Proctor, a great American artist. The Proctor family and Proctor Foundation have underwritten preservation projects that have helped ensure the longevity and appreciation by future generations of this collection. They've supported research, notably by empowering museum interns and fellows to work alongside conservation scientists, art historians, and working with technical studies. Though long a topic of historical interest, the study of bronzes having Western American subjects has lately received and kind of experienced a renaissance. Today, we hope to build on this burgeoning interest and add to the conversation, extending our scope to the most contemporary of sculptural expressions. During this time, the centennial year of the Buffalo Bill Memorial Association, it seems especially pertinent to me to highlight one among the center's great strengths, its collection of sculptures. Two of American art's luminaries, Gertrude Vanderbilt Whitney and Alexander FEM Proctor, and a diverse array of contemporary artists in whose capable hands the future of sculpture in our region will be forged. Thank you.